Anger and frustration are super healthy, normal human emotions. But most of us have been brought up with the belief that we're not really supposed to feel that way. When we're children and we show frustration or anger, we often get dismissed or told off. And we internalize this belief that we're not really allowed to express ourselves in such a way. But the thing is that anger and frustration also show us where our boundaries are. It shows us where we're stretching ourselves too thin, where we're maybe feeling like other people are crossing our boundaries. And anger helps us express that and stand up for ourselves and our own needs. And if we've never learned how to do that in a healthy way, we usually go one of two ways. Either we become kind of pleasers and we try to always do what other people expect from us and always do good and keep kind of the anger to ourselves and sort of dismiss it entirely. Or we kind of go through life with this sort of suppressed anger and frustration that can just come out at any time. And they can both be true as well. Like you could be a pleaser and sometimes feel like things are just too much and then we explode. And the thing is that when we get to that point when we explode, we often say things that we don't really mean, or we do things that we can regret later because it's so explosive and it's all this pent up energy that just comes out at once. And in the moment, we may feel very justified doing that, but later we usually look back and think, wow, I wish I had handled that a little bit differently. And sometimes the things we do can even sort of be things that we can't really repair later. Like we might say things to other people that are really hurtful and that it's hard for them to forget. We may do things like just quit our job on a whim when we feel really angry or end a relationship. And it's all kind of understandable. It is that big pent up anger that comes out at that specific time. But at the same time, if we want to make sure that we can make decisions that we've sort of considered and we say the things that we want to say, but in a moment when we can express ourselves as we really want to without looking back with regret, it helps if we learn to regulate our anger and frustration always. So not just in the moment when it comes up and it's like really hard to ignore. I think it really starts with recognizing that little feeling like something is brewing. Like anger, frustration usually doesn't start explosive. It starts with a little, almost like a whisper in your body somewhere. And for some people, that can be like you're maybe clenching your fist, you're tightening, or you just feel like this sort of like icky feeling. It's kind of hard to recognize at first when you're not used to it. But once you do, it can really save your relationships and your life in a way because you learn to recognize that you're annoyed, that you're angry. And that gives you a time to sort of step back and reflect on what's going on. You may want to release that angry energy by, for example, going on a walk, doing some workout, writing it down. I like to do something really physical, but it's like a bit of a preference. But when you learn to recognize what anger feels like when it starts, you'll be able to recognize your need in that moment rather than when it's already too late. And it's a little bit different how it feels for everybody, but this might be one of the most useful skills you ever learn because it means that you can express your needs and your boundaries at the moment when they occur and not when you feel like you have all this pent up energy coming out at somebody. And then once you learn to recognize what anger and frustration feel like in your body, you can then see what you want to do with it. Do you want to take a step back and write it out before you have a conversation? Do you want to first release that physical energy before you think about next steps? It just gives you the chance to pause, and that pause can make all the difference in your life.